How would you rate, if you had to grade last night's win? I know you're playing an opponent that's kind of struggling, but still, it looked like you guys had a pretty complete game last night.
It was a good win. I mean, but really every win's a good win. Especially this season, we've had so many close losses. We're just trying to reverse the momentum, and our guys are doing a good job of that. Obviously, getting back to 500 last night and just trying to carry it forward. But a lot of good things happened in the game for sure.
Talk about those close games. When you play so many close games, how does it affect your team? I mean, what have you noticed about your team's ability, I guess, to survive or exist in those close games, and how does it carry over the course of the season to have these games so early?
Well, we've got a lot of guys who have been through everything and anything, so they're unfazed by it. We have a bunch of guys who are willing to take big shots, and they don't worry about the repercussions or anything like that. But we do have a lot of young guys and new guys, and we're trying to learn how to execute under pressure down the stretch, and I'm figuring out things that I can do down the stretch, plays that I can call, actions that I can run, that sort of thing. So we're finding our way.
Hey, Coach. What have you seen from Scoot Henderson, both in action and on film? And also, how difficult is it for a rookie to come into the league and be that lead guard with the way that the league is gone, the way that the game is now?
He's really impressive. I mean, he just comes downhill so fast and powerfully. He was really impressive last week in Portland. This will be the third time we've seen him. So you can see he's got a world of talent and seems to be doing a really good job. I mean, I don't follow them closely, but until we play them, but on tape, he looks like a really, really good player.
You were talking the other day about how you just, you can't play 13 players in a rotation. It's just too many. But your rotation has been fluid most of the season. Is that something you still feel like you're at, or do you feel like you're starting to get closer to a point where you have sort of a set rotation?
Well, it's right now it's set, but then we got Gary coming back, we got Draymond coming back, Wiggs will come back, so we have more good players than rotation spots, which is a good problem to have, but it's not easy for the players themselves. So we have to continue to encourage the guys to just compete and recognize that their chance will come if they stay patient. But that's not an easy thing to convince guys of in the NBA.
Steve, was there kind of a moment maybe in preseason or just early in the regular season where you realized Brandon and or TJD could be a real factor in the rotation? Do you remember kind of when you realized that?
Well, we could see in camp that both guys were ready to contribute. It was more a matter of, were they going to overtake the veterans who were ahead of them? Were they going to be able to maneuver their way into the lineup? I mean, there's a reason we didn't hand them jobs to start the season. It doesn't work that way. If you did that, you'd have a revolt on your hands. I mean, you have to honor the work that the veterans have done in the past. You give them every opportunity, which we did. But while that was all happening, those two young guys were really shining. And I was there for the opening night of the G League in Santa Cruz, and both guys were just dominant out there. So you could see, early on that they were ready to play, but they've made their way into the rotation based on a number of factors. But ultimately, the only way to get there is if you're good enough, and they're both good enough, obviously. Where's everybody, Raymond? They go home early for Christmas.
It's the holidays, people.
It's good to see the real ones are still here.
38 assists tonight. What does that say about sort of your depth and how you guys are moving the ball around and getting everyone involved?
Yeah, it was a beautiful offensive game after the early turnovers. Portland is very aggressive defensively, and they got a lot of athletes. They bothered us early in the game with their pressure, and then once we got a little better organized and got more under control. We had some great possessions. Chris continues to just operate the team so smoothly, and a lot of guys are really playing at a high level, so it's fun to watch tonight.
Clay's been, playing really well for
Yeah.
a little while now. What have you specifically seen work for him? Is it a matter of shots just falling down, or has he been changing something?
Shot selection is the biggest thing with Clay. I think over the last 5 games, he's just taking better shots, and as a result, our team is more settled. We just feel like we're operating more efficiently. He's coming off screens. If he's open, he's shooting it. If he's not, he's moving it. And when he does that, he's at his best, and we're at our best.
When you take into consideration, just as a follow-up, what he said about Clay, but then also Steph's always shooting well, but everybody seems to be playing well. And you said after the Celtics win that it seemed as if that win could push you guys and give you a boost headed into this season, well, the rest of this season. And it seems like that has been the case. What's the feel? I'm always asking about the feel, but what's the feel? Because it seems like everybody feels pretty good right now.
Yeah, the vibe is good. We have a lot of leadership in the locker room. And I think, the guy I want to point out tonight is Kevon. The last 4 games or so haven't gone his way at all. Trace has played so well. So a lot of Loon's minutes have gone to Trace. And every single night, every day at practice, he's a rock. He's leading. He's been great on the bench, advising guys, giving advice during timeouts, cheering them on when they're playing well. I think, the true definition of a leader is someone who leads when things aren't going well for himself. And that's what makes Loon so special, is that's who he is. And then you just know that things are going to turn back around like they did tonight. He had 11 boards, 7 assists. I thought he was fantastic tonight, and that's who he's been his whole career. Just totally professional, kind of an old soul, a lot of wisdom, and steady as they come. So we're lucky to have Loon.
See, what's it like, during this win streak, it's been most of the spotlight's gone on the young guys, how well they played. But to see Steph and Clay, they scored 24 of your 32 points in the third quarter when you had some separation there. Chris with his assist turnover ratio, and Loon tonight. What does it say when you have the veterans kind of come in and, say, wait a minute, we're still here?
Yeah. It just feels like the balance is great this year. I think Mike Dunleavy did such a great job with this roster. We have the vets who are, the core of this team, the guys you just mentioned. But you look at, Brandon and J.K. and Moses, these young guys who are contributing so much to our team. The balance feels right. We've got a lot of options every night at our disposal as a staff. Got a lot of good players, so we're able to survive injuries like we've done. But the group just feels right. We've got a really deep roster and guys who complement each other well. Cool. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody.